Welcome to the Philip Sadiq Show. And we've been just joking with this guy here, wrote the book, Not a Genuine Black Man. And believe me, there's so many things. If you buy this book, you're going to see so many things, a lot of you, that will parallel your life or someone else's life. That's enough of me. And now on to our special guest, Mr. Brian Copeland. How you doing, my friend?
I like the way you say genuine. Where are you from, anyway? I thought you were a local guy. Man. Genuine.
Very local, very local.
Yes, sir, Bob. I know one of those. I know a Golly Shucks is coming soon.
Oh, yeah. Very soon, very soon. But, okay, this book, I mean, it's about you growing up in San Leandro, and we'll get to the part later where you guys got some awards for help desegregating San Leandro.
Well, actually, not really a award. There was I guess you could call it that. You know,
I'll be modest.
Yeah, the mayor gave a what do you call it? A commendation, to my mom, my grandma. My grandmother and my mom posthumously at one of the performances. The book started out as a play. So it's just weird, and I told you, I mean, I'm always surprised anybody gives a crap about this, because it was supposed to be 6 weeks, at the Marsh, just one-man show, and it just... San Francisco was supposed to run 6 weeks. I'd be done. Oh, that's out of my system. Now I'll go back to Cobb's Comedy Club and keep doing stand-up, and it just kind of exploded, and it ran for 27 months in a book, and it's going to be a movie, and we're working on it as a TV series, and Rob Reiner's producing it, and all the stuff that's going on with it. But it's just because a lot of people tapped into what you were talking about how there's a part of all of us that can relate to this story. Because it's not really a story about being black, it's a story about being different.
Right.
Because at some point in your life, you're the only one. Whether you're the only guy, the only woman, the only black, the only Jew, the only whatever. And it's about how do you cope when you're the only one of your kind. And you're being persecuted for being the only one of your kind in a certain situation.
And how you handled it, being the only one of your kind.
Right.
Because, as I said, the book, I read the book and I had to read it in bits and pieces because a lot of it paralleled when I had to reflect. I read it, reflected. Musical taste. Rick Springfield. I remember Rick Springfield from Jesse's Girl and General Hospital.
I was opening act, man. I've opened for about a dozen times. Seriously, yeah.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've also opened for Smokey Robinson.
Smokey a lot. And
Earth, Wind & Fire.
Earth, Wind & Fire, James Brown, Natalie Cole, Aretha Franklin, Dionne Warwick. Basically, every black act that the William Morris Agency handled at some point or another, they put me with to open for. So it's been cool. I've been able to meet a lot of legends, which is really great.
That's great.
Because they're going to, we're losing them. Ray Charles,
yes.
all these guys that I got to open for, and we're losing them.
And the thing is, you have memories that you opened for them.
That's right, and had interactions with them, so that's cool.
Now, on the air, television, we saw you on another station, and when you were just...
Another station.
Yeah, local station, and when you were...
On another network.
we were looking like, who's this dude? Who's this dude? It was like, wow, young, vibrant, black, wow, that was great. And then we turned on, we didn't see you any longer. And then that's when we started like our own little family protested. We said, what happened? No send off or anything. But it seems like you moved on to bigger and better things since then.
Yeah, I wasn't happy in that gig. It didn't turn out to be what it was that I wanted it to be. Because I just, here we were, a station in Oakland, and I'm out on the street doing stuff with people, and we could never do anything in Oakland unless it was, in Rockridge, or unless, I'm serious. I mean, I spent most of my time in the marina talking to white yuppies eating bagels, asking them what it was that they think about this or think about that. It's like, well, let me go to, International Boulevard. Let me go someplace where, and I could never do it. And what's funny too is that I've been gone from that show about 8 years, and people still mention it to me, and I always say I feel about that show like I think Tom Hanks feels about bosom buddies.
Yes.
I mean, it's something I did earlier in my career. I don't regret it. I had a good time. I made good friends, but it was never representative of my work or who or what it is that I am or what it is I do, and I just as soon leave it in the past.
Okay, yeah, we'll leave it back there. Like I said, you learned from it, you got what you needed from it, and you pressed on forward. Now, we're hearing talks about Jack Nicholson, I think. Someone had mentioned Jack Nicholson.
I just finished doing a movie. Rob Reiner's film.
Pump it up. What's the name?
It's called The Bucket List, and it's Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. I got a small part. I play Morgan Freeman's son in the movie. What it's about is two guys with terminal cancer, one rich, Nicholson, the other blue-collar but brilliant, self-educated Morgan Freeman, and they're dying of terminal cancer. And Morgan Freeman's character makes this list and it's a list of all the things that he'd like to do before he kicks the bucket, a bucket list. So Nicholson takes it and says, I'm rich. We can do this stuff. And so they escape from the hospital ward, and they run around the world, racing, vintage Mustangs and jumping out of airplanes and going to the Great Wall of China. There's a scene where Morgan goes on Jeopardy, and we shot it on the Jeopardy set with Alex Trebek. And the point of the movie is, how would you live your life if you knew you had only a finite period of time? And you think of all these things you do if you knew you had 6 months or you knew you had 5 months. And the question is, why aren't you doing it now? Because you do have a finite period of time. You don't know when your number's up. Yeah. But it's a great, great film. It's going to be a great movie.
And what did you learn from those two giants? I mean, because you can mention their names and people's eyes light up because they have such a tremendous body of work. What did you learn when you were in the presence of those Hollywood royalty?
Well, I learned with Morgan that you start the scene before the scene begins, before the camera starts rolling. That if you're supposed to be sad in a scene, then you are sad before the camera starts rolling. Camera doesn't start rolling, and then you get sad. It's like jogging. You want to be in mid stride. You don't want the camera to catch you starting to warm up. You want the camera to catch you in mid stride.
Right.
And Nicholson is just, I've never met anybody more charismatic in my entire life.
We have a special local celebrity in the house.
So.
Well, now see Brian's arrival.
Yes, I'm over the Charlie's Angels phone here, apparently. Good morning, Angels. We have a black man here at Jack London Square.
Two, actually three.
Three of
look
them.
out, look out, look out.
In a bookstore. Stop the presses. I'm the black picket, by the way. That's me right there.
Right here, see?
Yeah. Now, you know what's cool? In this movie, Beverly Todd plays my mother. And Beverly Todd has had this just incredible career. Most recently, the thing you know her from is Crash. She played Don Cheadle's mother in Crash. But before that, she was in They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, and she was Fanta in Roots. Now, remember Fanta? Fanta was the African girl that Kunta Kinte meets in Africa. And then he comes upon her later as an adult when he's a slave, and she's the one that, because she starts screaming, he gets his foot chopped off. That's who. Yes, remember that?
Ooh,
remember that?
Yes.
And she told me this story about how, this is 1977, and she said that, for months, everywhere she went, black people would come up to her and go, if you could just keep your mouth shut, Kunta Kinte would add 2 things. Why can't you just shut up? And she go, it was a part, and people were really mad. People were really mad.
Yeah.
They blamed her. Hilarious. You just shut up.
Something else. Yeah, that movie was something else when it came out. Now, back to the book now. Your relationship with your grandmother.
Yeah.
She saw a lot of things, quote, wrong that her mom or your mother was doing, but she went along with it because of love for you and the family.
I don't know that I would call things my mother did wrong.
Right.
Actually, I wouldn't call them wrong, but they were very different. They were both born in Birmingham. My mother was raised in Akron. But my mother was.
Did she say Rhode Island though?
Yeah, she used to say she was from Rhode Island. She used to say because it sounded better in Birmingham. My mother was what black folks call sedity.
Yeah.
My mother was very, very sedity. So it was just kind of interesting. They had kind of this culture clash, but they were very, very close. But they'd argue amongst themselves. But grandma had her back. And had our backs too.
Oh yeah, I remember your grandmother. I guess the mob came to your apartment.
Yeah,
and the kid, you threw somebody's cat in the pool.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
They used to accuse me of all kind of stuff. All they just say is a black kid did it, and then everybody be knocking on my door because what other black kids are around?
In the neighborhood.
Yeah, they come knocking on my door. It's like we weren't even here. Well, I saw you. All right, well,
Yep, and your grandmother threw the hot water on them.
Now, don't give everything in the book away.
Okay, all right. Well, it's just such a fascinating book. I'm telling you. You read it, you won't be able to put it down, or you'll read it and you will reflect. Because that's what I did with it. So we're going to have to wrap this up. He's got a book signing to do.
Well, I want to mention before you wrap it up that the play, I'm still performing the play. That the book is
Give us
based
the dates,
on.
the times, and places.
I'm in Alameda coming up this weekend, but that's sold out. So the next one I'll be doing is at Dean Lesher in Walnut Creek. What I'm doing is a little tour of the burbs before I take it back to San Francisco, because what's interesting is there are all these people that I call them bridge phobic. that want to see the show, but for whatever reason will not go to San Francisco because they're scared of parking, or it's a big scary city.
Remember the earthquake?
Yeah, remember the earthquake. Yeah, could be another one. It's been 17 years. So I'm going around, kind of doing tours of theaters in the burbs, so folks can see it. So March 30th and 31st at Dean Lester Center for the Arts in Walnut Creek. Go to briancopeland.com, and there's all the information. And you can go to the book there as well, or come here to Barnes & Noble and get it.
Great, Brian. I gotta say, this is. Oh man! Before we leave, did you? Cause we went to Catholic school, and being one of the only ones. I mean, did you ever listen to Deep Purple?
Deep Purple.
Is that before your time?
That's a little before my time. Daddy, what's Vietnam?
Yeah. Yeah, Deep Purple. Some of y'all think you'll know Deep Purple.
That was cool. I'm sorry. That's cool. I'm sorry.
Always kill up, get the host right. Man, I'm really this is. I'm speechless. Rarely do interviews leave me speechless, but this was wonderful. And on that, we'll wrap this interview up. Again, thanks a lot, man.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.